Where there's a certain kind of attraction that doesn't rush into the room, it doesn't demand attention, it arrives quietly, almost like a shift in the atmosphere you feel before you understand it. And when a woman begins to feel drawn toward you, she rarely shows it in loud or obvious ways, because part of her wants the connection, while another part wants to protect her mystery, her dignity, her sense of control. She doesn't want to look impulsive, she doesn't want to appear easy, so instead she communicates through nuance, through energy, through the way her presence changes around you. And if you're observant, you'll notice that attraction often begins long before either of you say anything about it. It starts with attention. Not loud attention, not exaggerated reactions, just a quiet shift in how she listens. She leans in emotionally, remembers details most people forget, asks questions that move past the surface. She isn't just filling silence as she's studying the rhythm of your thoughts, the way you respond, the calm or chaos you carry within you. Sometimes she lowers her voice slightly when conversations turn personal, creating a small emotional bubble where the outside world fades. That softer tone isn't accidental, it's instinctive, a way of making the moment feel private without needing to say so directly. And then there's the teasing. She challenges you lightly, disagrees playfully, pushes just enough to see how grounded you really are, not because she wants distance, but because tension creates intrigue. It allows her to explore attraction while still protecting her image, still feeling composed. Eye contact becomes deeper, longer, heavier with meaning. She looks, then looks away, then returns again as if she's asking silent questions she doesn't want to voice yet. That rhythm creates a magnetic pull, subtle but undeniable. You might notice she finds small reasons to extend moments. Conversations that could end don't. Goodbyes stretch slightly longer. She lingers, not dramatically, just enough to keep the energy alive. And if you respond with patience instead of urgency, the connection grows naturally, without pressure. Attraction for many women isn't a sudden decision, it's a gradual unfolding. She observes how you handle silence, how you react to vulnerability, whether your presence feels calm or overwhelming. Emotional safety always comes before deeper closeness. Sometimes she shares fragments of her inner world, small confessions, stories layered with emotion. Not everything at once, just enough to see how you hold the space. If you listen without rushing, without trying to control, the direction trust begins to form quietly between you. Her energy softens when she feels emotionally seen, shoulders relax, laughter becomes genuine, the tension shifts from cautious to curious. And that curiosity is where attraction begins to breathe. You might notice how humor becomes more personal and inside jokes forming slowly, creating a private language between you. That shared world builds intimacy without needing explicit words. And sometimes she pulls back slightly, not because interest is fading, but because she's balancing desire with self-respect. She doesn't want to lose control of how the connection evolves. If you chase aggressively, the rhythm breaks, but if you remain calm, grounded, present, the tension often returns stronger. Another subtle sign appears when she starts including you in future-oriented thoughts. Casual phrases, soft suggestions, moments where she imagines shared experiences without making them feel heavy. It sounds simple, but it reveals that she's allowing you into her emotional landscape. You may notice she mirrors your energy, your humor, even your pace of speech. Humans naturally mirror when they feel aligned, when the emotional connection feels safe. And that alignment builds a quiet closeness that grows stronger with time. Attraction isn't always about bold moves. Sometimes it lives inside stillness. The way she pauses before replying, the softness in her gazing, the calm presence she holds when the moment feels right. Those small signals often carry more meaning than grand gestures. There are moments when silence becomes comfortable, when neither of you feel the need to fill the space with constant words. That comfort reveals emotional trust, the kind that allows deeper connection to unfold naturally. Notice how she reacts when you show restraint, when you don't rush the connection forward. Restraint signals maturity, and maturity creates mystery. Instead of feeling pressured, she feels invited free to explore the energy at her own pace. And as conversations deepen, you begin to sense a shift, an unspoken awareness that the connection carries weight. She listens differently, speaks more thoughtfully, reveals pieces of herself she keeps hidden from most people. That's when attraction moves from curiosity to intention. But the key to understanding this dynamic isn't control, it's presence. Real magnetism doesn't demand, it allows. It doesn't chase, it attracts through calm confidence, through emotional intelligence, through patience. Because when a woman feels drawn to you while protecting her dignity, she communicates through nuance, through rhythm, through gestures that require awareness to notice. So slow down your energy, listen between the words, let the connection unfold naturally without forcing direction, without rushing outcomes. And when you learn to understand the quiet language of attraction, you realize something powerful. Or the strongest tension is often the one that grows silently, steadily in the space between two people who feel seen, respected, and deeply understood. If this perspective resonates with you, stay connected, like the video, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more slow, deep conversations about attraction, emotional awareness, and modern connection. And the more you slow your own rhythm, the more you begin to notice details most people overlook. The way her breathing softens when conversations feel safe, the way her posture relaxes when she feels understood, the way silence stops feeling empty and starts feeling warm, almost alive. Attraction often grows in those quiet spaces where nothing dramatic happens. No loud confessions, no exaggerated gestures, just two people sharing an energy that feels calm, steady, intentional. And when she feels that calm from you, she doesn't need to rush anything. She allows curiosity to unfold slowly, naturally. You might notice how she asks questions that seem simple on the surface, yet carry emotional depth underneath. Questions about what inspires you, what challenges you, what kind of life feels meaningful to you. She's not just making conversation, she's exploring compatibility, sensing whether your emotional world feels safe enough for her to step closer. Sometimes she smiles without saying anything, holding eye contact for just a second longer than expected. That small pause carries a subtle electricity, a feeling that something unspoken is moving between you. And if you stay grounded without rushing to define it, that tension grows deeper, richer, more magnetic. There's also a softness that appears when she feels emotionally comfortable. Her laughter becomes quieter, more genuine, less guarded. She listens with full presence, not distracted, not distant. And in those moments, attraction feels less like a performance and more like a shared experience unfolding naturally. Sometimes she tests your emotional steadiness without realizing it. She might express a strong opinion, tease you gently, or challenge your perspective just to feel how stable your energy remains. When you respond calmly, without defensiveness, it creates a sense of trust. She feels safe leaning closer because your presence feels grounded rather than unpredictable. You'll notice how conversations begin to stretch longer, especially during quieter hours when the world feels slower. Late night messages, deeper reflections moments where both of you reveal thoughts that rarely come out during busy daytime conversations. That shift toward deeper dialogue often signals growing emotional intimacy. And yet she still protects her image. She balances openness with subtle restraint, revealing interest without appearing impulsive. That balance creates a rhythm, a push and pull that keeps the connection alive, curious, evolving. There are moments when she grows quieter, not distant, just thoughtful. She observes more, listens more, almost as if she's feeling the emotional weight of the connection. Those quiet moments aren't emptiness, they're awareness, the realization that something meaningful might be forming. You may notice she mirrors your calm when you slow down your speech, when you let silence exist without rushing to fill it. Humans naturally synchronize with energy that feels safe. And when that synchronization happens, attraction becomes less about effort and more about alignment. She might share memories that carry emotional depth, stories that reveal vulnerability, glimpses of her inner world offered carefully, piece by piece. And when you hold those moments gently without pressure, she begins to associate your presence with emotional comfort. Sometimes the strongest signal isn't what she says, it's how she stays. Conversations that should end continue, moments that could fade linger just a little longer. That willingness to remain present even in silence often reveals more than words. You might feel the energy shift when your confidence becomes quieter, less performative, more grounded. Instead of trying to impress, you simply exist in the moment. And that calm authenticity creates a space where attraction can grow without fear of judgment, because real magnetism doesn't feel rushed. 1, 2, 3, it feels patient, steady, intentional. It invites rather than demands. There may be moments when she subtly steps closer into your personal space, not dramatically, just enough to feel the shared presence. She watches your reaction, sensing whether you respect the rhythm of the connection. When you respond with calm awareness, without pushing forward too quickly, trust deepens quietly. And over time, the dynamic becomes less about reading signals and more about feeling alignment. Conversations flow without effort, humor feels natural, emotional pauses feel comfortable instead of awkward. Attraction, when it's real, often feels like a slow unfolding rather than a sudden spark. It grows through consistency, through emotional safety, through moments of shared understanding that don't need explanation. You begin to realize that the most seductive energy isn't loud confidence, it's calm presence. The ability to listen deeply, to speak thoughtfully, to allow the moment to breathe without rushing toward an outcome. And when she senses that calm presence, she doesn't feel pressure to hide behind distance. She becomes more open, more relaxed, more willing to explore the connection at her own pace. So instead of searching for obvious signs, learn to observe emotional rhythm. Notice how conversations deepen, how laughter softens, how silence becomes warmer. Those subtle shifts often reveal attraction more clearly than bold declarations ever could. Because the strongest connections aren't built on urgency, they're built on awareness, patience, and the quiet understanding that real intimacy grows slowly, one calm moment at a time. I can keep continuing and expanding the narration in the same slow, intimate, seductive psychological tone with extra pacing cues so your voice clone stays calm and deep. I'll keep it non-explicit and monetization safe, focused on emotional tension and presence. Here is the next continuous expansion. Just place it directly after the last line. You receive. Oh, and then as the connection settles into a quieter rhythm, you begin to notice how little things carry more weight than before. A simple glance becomes a conversation. A brief silence feels intentional, almost like both of you are listening to something unspoken beneath the words. She may start revealing pieces of her personality that she keeps hidden from most people. Not dramatic confessions, just subtle shifts, a softer humor, a more thoughtful tone, moments where her guard lowers for a second longer than usual. Those moments aren't accidental, they're invitations to step closer emotionally without making it obvious. You'll notice how she reacts to your calmness. When you speak slowly, when you allow pauses to exist, she mirrors that pace. Humans naturally slow down around energy that feels safe, and that shared slowness creates a quiet intimacy that grows stronger with time. Sometimes she tests the emotional space between you by bringing up deeper topics, dreams, fears, perspectives that reveal how she sees the world. She watches not only what you say, but how you say it, whether your presence feels grounded or restless. When you respond with patience, she feels understood without needing to explain everything. Attraction often reveals itself in consistency rather than intensity. The way she keeps returning to conversation, the way she remembers small details, the way she lingers emotionally even after the moment ends. Those quiet repetitions build a sense of familiarity, and familiarity slowly transforms into trust. There may be times when she becomes slightly distant, not cold, just reflective. She's balancing her curiosity with her need to maintain composure. If you remain steady without chasing or withdrawing completely, the emotional rhythm stays intact. And that balance keeps the tension alive without pressure. You might notice how her laughter changes when she feels comfortable. It becomes softer, slower, less guarded. She laughs just at what you say, but at the shared feeling between you, the subtle awareness that something meaningful is forming. Eye contact becomes less about curiosity and more about connection. She doesn't just look, she stays present in the gazing, allowing the moment to stretch without needing to break it. And when you respond with calm confidence, that shared stillness becomes deeply magnetic. Sometimes she asks questions that feel personal, not intrusive, just thoughtful. Questions about your values, your perspective on life, what makes you feel calm or alive. Those questions reveal emotional investment, a quiet desire to understand who you are beneath surface impressions. And when you answer honestly without exaggeration, the connection feels real rather than performative. Realness more than charm is what creates lasting attraction. There's also the way she begins to include you in her emotional reactions. She tells you how something made her feel, asks what you think, shares moments that matter to her. That inclusion signals trust, a willingness to let you step into her internal world. Over time, conversations feel less like interactions and more like shared presence. You don't rush to fill silence, you don't force direction, you simply exist in the moment together, and that calm presence allows attraction to deepen without fear. She may subtly adjust her physical distance, standing slightly closer, leaning in during conversation, then stepping back again. That rhythm creates a natural push and pull, a balance between curiosity and self-control, and when you respect that rhythm, the connection feels safely, grounded, intentional. Attraction, when it's genuine, rarely feels chaotic. It feels steady, warm, quietly intense. It builds through small moments repeated over time, moments where both of you feel seen without needing to explain why. You might notice how she becomes more reflective in her words, choosing phrases carefully, revealing layers of thought that weren't visible at the beginning. That depth shows emotional engagement, a sign that she's investing energy into the connection. And sometimes the strongest signal is simply her presence. She shows up consistently, calmly, without needing dramatic gestures. That quiet consistency often speaks louder than any bold declaration. So instead of trying to decode every gesture, focus on the emotional atmosphere. Notice how conversations slow, how laughter softens, how silence feels comfortable rather than awkward. Those subtle shifts reveal attraction in its most natural form, because real magnetism isn't about forcing moments, it's about allowing them. It's about creating a space where curiosity grows slowly, where emotional safety meets quiet tension, where two people move closer without needing to rush. Oh, and the deeper the connection grows, the less it feels like something you need to chase, and the more it feels like something you simply allow. Because when emotional tension becomes calm instead of chaotic, both people begin to relax into the moment without fear of being misunderstood. Sometimes you'll notice how her words slow down, as if she's choosing them more carefully than before. She pauses, reflects, then speaks with intention. That shift shows awareness, the quiet realization that what exists between you carries meaning beyond ordinary interaction. She may begin sharing thoughts she wouldn't normally reveal, not dramatic secrets, just honest reflections, small glimpses into how she truly sees the world. And when you listen without interrupting, without rushing to respond, she feels emotionally held, understood without pressure. There are moments when laughter fades into silence, and instead of feeling awkward, that silence feels warm, almost comforting. Those pauses allow both of you to feel the presence of the connection without needing constant words. And often that stillness carries more depth than conversation itself. You might notice she becomes more attentive to your reactions, watching how you respond to emotional topics, observing whether you remain calm or become restless. Emotional steadiness builds trust, and trust quietly strengthens attraction. As time passes, the dynamic feels less like uncertainty and more like quiet understanding. Conversations flow naturally, energy feels balanced, and the connection develops its own rhythm, unspoken yet deeply felt. Sometimes she leans into the moment with subtle warmth, a softer smile, a slower, gazier presence that feels more open than before. These small changes aren't loud, but they reveal emotional comfort, a willingness to let the connection exist without resistance. And you begin to realize something important: attraction isn't always about bold signals or dramatic gestures. Often it grows in the quiet spaces where patience meets awareness, where respect meets curiosity, where two people allow each other to be seen without forcing anything forward. There may be moments when you both sit in silence, feeling the energy without defining it, and instead of rushing to label what's happening, you simply let the moment breathe. Because sometimes the most seductive energy is calm presence, the ability to exist together without pressure, without expectation. You'll notice how she relaxes when she feels emotionally safe. Her posture softens, her tone becomes lighter, her presence feels genuine rather than guarded. That ease signals trust, and trust allows attraction to deepen naturally without effort. And as the connection evolves, you begin to understand that real magnetism isn't about control. It's about emotional awareness, about listening between the words, about recognizing that genuine intimacy grows slowly, one moment at a time. So instead of searching for obvious signs, focus on how the energy feels. Notice how conversations slow, how laughter becomes warmer, how silence stops feeling empty. Those subtle shifts often reveal more than anything spoken aloud, because when two people feel understood, respected, and emotionally safe, attraction doesn't need to be forced. It unfolds quietly, naturally, in its own time. And if this perspective made you see attraction differently, if you felt the calm intensity behind these words, take a moment to slow down, reflect, and carry that awareness into your own connections. If you enjoyed this deep, slow exploration of emotional attraction, make sure you support the channel by liking this video, sharing your thoughts in the comments, and subscribing for more conversations about confidence, emotional intelligence, and modern relationships. Your support helps this space grow and keeps these calm, thoughtful discussions alive for everyone who wants to understand connection on a deeper level. Thank you for being here, thank you for listening, and thank you for watching the video.